This is a response video, but this is a conversation that we've had many times, a difficult one at that. And that is, why are black women the most disrespected women on the planet? So y'all know I'm fair and balanced over here. This is not one of those channels where we bash women or we bash men in particular. We just discuss the truth as it relates to the culture, the truth as it relates to American black culture. I don't have a bias in this argument or in this conversation. I'm just honest and real. I'm a black man, just for y'all to know, obviously. Born of a black woman whom I love. And anybody who know me know that through and through. To keep it 1,000 with you, all the black women in my family, my grandmother had 13 children and a lot of them was female. And listen, all the women in my family, the black women in my family, they know already when it come to me, the type of love I have for them and for black women as a whole. To love somebody is not to always tell them what they want to hear, family. We're going to keep it 100 with you. When somebody is wrong about something, or when somebody need to, be adjusted or kind of like they need light shed in a different light, love is not pacifying them, family. Love is helping them to see the truth. And it's difficult sometimes. It requires tact and skill, does it not? Because so often, whenever a man who looks like me have anything that is not praise and worship for the black mother goddess, okay, especially on social media, you're immediately ostracized. You don't even get to have an opinion about what the black woman is doing, or the black woman, quote unquote, black women in society, black women in our culture. Listen, to the sister who made the video, I believe her name is Miss Faye's World. Okay. Y'all go check her out. She talk her talk, and I respect. I want to tell you one thing about me, and everybody knows I respect my elders for sure. Here's the thing. We no longer living in the days of Malcolm X. The black woman of today's modern world is vastly different. And I mean, black female culture, popular black female culture is vastly different today than it was when Malcolm X was on that in them podiums preaching and teaching about the black woman being the most disrespected woman on the planet Earth. It's a different world today. The same way that the black man that black women are dealing with today is not the same exact black man that black women from the 1960s was dealing with. These are different times, different people, different culture. Our culture has evolved. Our culture has changed. The question is, have it changed for the positive or for the negative, for the better or for the worse? And anybody with a lick of common sense will understand. And if we're being intellectually honest and just say, clearly it has changed for the worse in more ways than it has changed for the better. Yes, there are some black people who are doing well financially. Yes, there are a lot of black people who are well educated and who are doing their thing. Whatever their thing is, they're doing it. And they're doing it in large numbers, and they're doing it with pride. And for that, I say salute to y'all. But we also have a culture that we need to talk about. Oh, yeah. A culture that we need to talk about. See, I just came back from a 3-day Carnival cruise. And shouts out to Carnival. They throw a hell of a cruise, okay? But I'm going to tell y'all something. I got a preview of why the black woman is the most disrespected woman on the planet Earth. I got a preview of why. See, I was a very young man when the Hot Boys came out, okay? I was very young. I was a kid, okay? But I remember going to my first house party, and I remember my first time hearing, my first time seeing the song "Back That Thing Up" by Juvenile came on at a house party. I remember, I'll never forget it, because I had never in my life seen women of any race act the way that I saw young black women act at that house party. They call it freak dancing. And it's like, yo, if your clothes wasn't on, you might as well be having sex. And it's like, y'all are all kids. None of y'all are in any kind of relationship. All of y'all are kids. See, there's a problem with the way that a lot of black people carry themselves. We live in a society with very low morals. Case in point, Sexy Red on the cruise ship. The only track, we went to the club, the only track that was played back to back to back, four straight tracks, four artists back to back was Sexy Red. And like roll call, you can imagine who was at the front of the dance floor and what they was doing. Now, don't get me wrong, family. Don't get me wrong, family. It ain't nothing wrong with a woman being sexy. It's nothing wrong with a woman being beautiful and having sexual appeal. But you want to know who else has sexual appeal without being ratchet and disgusting? Dare I say it? Loose. Women like Tim's. African female artists have morals. They can put on sexy clothing and dance and be sexy without bending over, twerking, and doing and being ratchet. That's the difference. And here's the thing on top of that. I need people to understand something, right? I understand the history of America. See, look, back in the day, we already know what black women in particular, was used for. We know that black women was raped in this country in mass. We know that black people were used as sexual objects of gratification, both male and female, in mass in American history. So even back in the day when black women had morals and standards, men of other races and other societies saw black women in a certain light. You had the mentality of utilizing, like a tool that you utilize, a black woman in a certain way. It was not about your family. It's not about your legacy. It's not about your respect. You're not even a human being. You're not worthy of respect to these other men of other races back in those days. In mass, there was one purpose for that woman: to breed and to be bred, or to be used as an object of sexual gratification. This was before the black woman decided to twerk and bust it open. So this is the legacy that we have all inherited. This is why the black woman is the most disrespected on the planet Earth, because most, I don't want to say most, but let's just say a lot of black women do not demand respect in the way that they carry themselves in light of American history. That's the reason why the black woman is the most disrespected today in 2024. We're not talking about 1960s. We're talking about in 2024. Because the historical complexities of what it is to be a black woman in America, combined with the culture, have taken the respect for black women to a new all-time low. And I'm not here suggesting that black men don't have a role in this or have played some role in this. But I'm telling you all that my opinion is that the individuals who have the biggest influence on the ethnic image of black women in America is not black men. Black men do not control the ethnic image of black American women. They don't. I would say that men of other races, like the men who control the media, which by and large is not black men, have more control over the ethnic image of black women than black men. But no one has more control over the ethnic image of black women than black women. So the bottom line is, if the black woman today wants to be respected, then she should carry herself as such. Now, I know that there are a lot of black women who do this, and salute to those of you who do. But unfortunately, you are thrown into the same shoebox or the same closet, or you can be thrown into the same closet as a Nicki Minaj, as a Sexy Red, as a, what's that girl name? Talking about she want her coochie scratched. These are black women destroying the image of black women. So when you hear women say things like, well, men of other races expect black women to have sex on the first night, et cetera, you start hearing all these things, these weird things that men think about black women. It's not because they're pulling this out of a hat some damn where. It's because they see what's on television. They see the way these women who are popular in black culture represent y'all, represent all black women. Now, men like me know better, right? I know damn well that what you see on TV is not necessarily a representation, obviously, of every black woman. But again, we cannot be intellectually dishonest and say that those women who carry themselves in that way do not exist in mass. In mass. See, the thing is this, man, black women got double work to do. We got, and it ain't just black women, it's black men as well. This is the reality of what we need to do as a people. Both black men and women have a lot of work to do. Oh, yeah, it's a fact. We do. We have to reclaim our ethnic image and honor and respect. And that involve breaking stereotypes of all sorts. See, at one point in time, your man was the stereotype. At one point in time, in every way you can imagine. And here's the thing about it, right? Sometimes I might get an episode of what's it called when you just go back to the old you. I forgot what it is, right? You just go back. You just snap back to the like so every once in a while you feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's there because this is an element of that really what it is frustration. That's really what the majority of dysfunction is. Dysfunction is frustration that you have not dealt with in a constructive way. You have not grown from, you have not healed from. Certain scars, though, certain wounds leave scars. Y'all see this? Certain wounds leave scars that will always be there. Do y'all hear me? The scar is there for you to understand, a memory for you to know, like, yo, something bad happened right there. But damn it, I'm not going to let myself go back into that same thing. I'm not going to let that happen again. So what do I need to do to ensure that that old dysfunctional person is done? And as it relates to this conversation about black women being the most disrespected, that's what really needs to be. That's the real conversation that needs to be had. Not just as black women, but black men as well, too. What do we need to do? What do we need to do to make sure our ethnic image is respectable and honorable amongst everybody? That's the real question. This is not about victimhood and pointing the finger. Oh, the black woman and the black man did that. That's petty nonsense, man. We way past that. We way past that. We way past that. This is real. What do I got to do? Let me know what it is so I can figure out a game plan to get there. Because one thing for sure, two things for certain. I'm going to get there. We going to get there. You can get there. It don't matter what you come from. There's lots of people out there who have a past, who decide to turn their back on that. And one day woke up, realized, man, that's not it. I was tripping. Boy, something was wrong with me. I was outside my body. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was tripping. God showed me a different way. A pastor in the church, somebody who I look up to, showed me something different is possible. And it made me believe that I could have more than this foolishness that I grew up thinking was right, when really it was wrong all along. No, it wasn't them. It wasn't nobody. It wasn't my mama. It wasn't my daddy. They all played a role, but at the end of the day, it was me. I made that decision to go do X, Y, and Z. I own that. I have to own that. Now let me figure out what I need to do to make sure that never happens again. Do y'all hear me? That's what this is really about. Now we understand that there are powers out there and forces at work and at play that will always push negative images, and negative tropes and foolishness and dysfunction, no matter what we or you or I do. But let them do that while we do something completely different. Do you hear me? And eventually people will be able to differentiate the truth from the lie and say, you know what? Nah, this is just racism 2.0. This is what racism in 2024 looks like. Somebody pushing a negative trope or a negative narrative about somebody that ain't even true like that. Listen, I told you I went on the Carnival cruise this weekend. Let me tell y'all something, man. A lot of people in this world take black folks, black Americans in particular, as a joke. from the church that you go to your family as a joke. And it's insane to me because, in my opinion, we are probably the most respectable people in the United States of America, despite the fact of all the negative nonsense going on. When you look at the totality of everything that we've gone through in America, to where some of our people are at today, to where you got black men and black women holding it down as a family, raising their kids the right way, believing in God, believing in Christ, believing in the word still, even though your enemy tried to use that word to make you believe you was cursed, that your skin color was a sign of a curse. A lot of black folks still believe in that same word. No one can tell me the wiser that we as black people are not an amazing people, an honorable and respectable people. But it's up to you to own that. It's up to you to walk in that truth. Not just because this is the problem with a lot of black folks. A lot of black folks use their blackness like a hoe. Like they use it like they use it like prostitution. Like they flaunt it in a way that ain't right. Instead of being humble about your gifts. Instead of being humble about your gifts. I've heard women of other races say things like, yo, black women, like if black women like knew how to get it together, they would dominate basically every other woman because they got it. Like there's something special about black women for real. There's something special about us as black people, black Americans. Not that all black people, I'm just saying like we got a different type of shine. And we should because of the things that we've gone through. This is just a fact. But it's up to you to walk in that in an honorable way. Any gift abused is like spoiled milk. It's like I give you the best dish in the world and you just leave it out. You just throw it you just destroy the gift. That's foolishness. No, appreciate your gifts, because your gifts, as a wise man once said to me, your gifts will make a way for you. You hear me? Yeah. So at the end of the day, listen, I'm not pushing no victimhood. I'm not pushing no this or none of that. I understand all the other forces at work, but at the end of the day, we are the ones, number one, in control of our ethnic image. And black men and black women as a whole, we have work to do. And I believe that we are doing it, and salute to those who are. Now we need to come up with creative ways to eradicate the foolishness. Do y'all hear me? See, there's certain ways of life that used to be restricted to the closet, if you will. You could not openly do certain things because somebody was going to check you. Your grandma was going to find out about it. Like it was going to be bad. More conservative. Yeah. Yeah. Nowadays, there ain't even no grandmas. Grandmas want to look like sexy reds nowadays. Okay. So now it's a different world. The shame, not necessarily the shame, but the discipline have left a lot of people to where now folks just acting like they don't care. And it's a terrible look. And that is the reason why people can say and get away with the things that they do as it relates to us as black people, because we as black people don't carry ourselves in the right type of respectable light. And we got here's the thing about it. While we sitting here having this remedial conversation about the black woman being the most disrespected, there's forces way beyond that are at work that are impacting our people in a negative way that we can't even get to because we stuck on these remedial conversations. When it need to just be, look, this is what it is. This is what needs to happen. Let's move on. And that's what I propose, that we call a spade a spade. It is what it is. Let's fix the problem and let's move on. How about you repent in the name of the Lord from your wicked ways? How about you keep your foolishness and your folly to a minimum? How about you keep your whole ass in the house and keep your freaky behavior, if you can't control it, to restrict it to a closet, to somewhere private, instead of taking your raggedy ratchet ghetto-ness and promoting it like it's what we all need to be doing. No. I think that somebody like that should be punished. That should be a crime. That is indecent. Your ass should be arrested and thrown in jail for 24 hours minimum and given a fine if it were up to me. It's just as simple as that. And that's how it is in other countries. You go to another country, you think you finna start twerking and doing this and twerking like in public around. You going to jail. Yeah. No, ho. We don't tolerate the whoredom. We don't tolerate no Jezebels, men or male or female. But here's the question. I think black men want black women to respect themselves more than black women want black women to respect themselves. It goes back to family. It goes back to morals. It goes back to a lot. At the end of the day, it's like this. And I'm going to say this and I'm out of here for real. Listen, the perfect will of God have never been for a woman to bounce from man to man to man to man to man and never be married to not none one of them. That ain't never been the perfect plan of God. The perfect will of God ain't never been for a woman to lay up and give her hymen to a man that she not married to, that haven't committed a lifelong commitment to her. It's a beautiful thing to see a woman get married, family. It's a beautiful thing to see a woman marry before she carry and raise a family. Don't let nobody get you to thinking that that's somehow played out or out of style. See, everything's cheap nowadays, right? Family is expensive. Huh. Oh, I can't afford it. No. The value is in here. You think you can't afford it because really you're not worthy. If you understood the value of family, you wouldn't reduce it to monetary. You wouldn't reduce it to money. If you understood the value of actual family and what it means to a community and to a society, you wouldn't restrict it on the basis of money. That's not all about that. It's deeper than that. But our world is not willing to be honest. People are not willing to be honest. And black folks too caught up in trying to make something look good. Too caught up in what it looked like as opposed to what it actually is. You hear me? Too caught up on how something make you feel as opposed to what it actually is. Looking to get their ears tickled as opposed to dealing with the truth. But growth requires uncomfortability. Growth requires you to get stretched, like you to get, growth requires you to go through an uncomfortable experience, at least in the interim. It's required. So if you ain't willing to get outside your comfort zone to establish your legacy in a righteous way, then you will reap what you sow. That's one of my favorite things to say. You're going to reap what you sow. And I want y'all to sow in righteousness. That way you can reap the same. All right. Hey, like, share, subscribe, fam. Comment below. Tell me what y'all think on this topic of discussion. Till we chat again, I'm out.